Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Welcome to this a bit different edition of Metautism podcast. I'm your host, Klara, and I've been reflecting on the first 15 episodes we published since launching our podcast in February 2024. So this episode will be a compilation episode of 6 valuable lessons from some of our previous guests, specifically individuals on the autism spectrum and their parents. Whether it's about support, community, overcoming challenges, inclusivity, or something completely else, trust me, you will find yourself, you will find something relatable in their stories. And of course, we have to mention that a few days ago we celebrated World Autism Awareness Day, and we are on a mission of empowering autistic VET vocational education and training students and job seekers, of course, raising awareness and advocating for inclusivity. So if that's something you resonate with, it would really help our mission if you would share this episode on your socials if you feel comfortable with it. And now our first lesson comes from Robin Andblom, a Swedish game designer, art generalist, and technical artist who is on the autism spectrum. While some people fear getting diagnosis, any type of diagnosis, Robin proves that is not the case, and it can also be a huge relief, and here's why.
It's a process, really, and I'm still learning. Remember it being a relief because I finally got some answers that no other therapist were able to really give, actually. So it was an eye-opener. Well, I found there's a reason for my struggles in the social part of life, and also maybe an explanation to my sensitive side. I've always been yes, good thing that you're asking. No, but I've always felt feelings and emotions very, very strongly, I have always felt I'm consuming more energy maybe than my friends. It's like I'm getting tired quicker than others, needing to plan for recharging, etc., and maybe canceling some stuff and stuff like that.
Next, we have Maja Puškarić, a branding expert, solopreneur, educator, and mother of Gabriel, who has Asperger's syndrome. It took 3 years to get proper diagnosis for Gabriel, but that was only the beginning of their challenges. Maja teaches us to never give up, to adapt, and to find positivity in the journey.
I was searching for a solution. And when we finally received the paper that confirms that he is different, it was a big relief, but I didn't want to give up on maybe submitting to the rules of our system. I know that we got the certain, let's say, roadmap for the things that might help Gabriel in school. And as our system in Croatia is very rigid, we needed to wait until September so we can apply those rules, those new things that could help him. Of course, it was February and we had 4 months of school year, and I really did not want him to suffer another 4 months. So I really, did my best to make these things happen for him. For example, he needed an assistant at school, and it was impossible to do that. We should wait until September, but I went to our regional, the leader for schooling of our region, director, or I don't know how it is called in English. And I said, well, he needs this. He needs an assistant. He said, no, you have to wait until September. I said, can we have a volunteer? Yes, you can. Who can decide on this? Schoolmaster. Great. Thank you very much. Then I went to a schoolmaster and said, look, we really need a volunteer. This guy that is in charge for schooling in our region said we can get a volunteer, so please make it happen. And then the master was really, really good, and we finally got a volunteer. Željka was really amazing, and she started to work with Gabriel already in February. And of course, she did not volunteer. We really paid her from our own pockets because we knew that he needs help. And then he started really thriving at school.
She really showed us push beyond limitations because unfortunately the systems we live in still have a long way to go to be truly inclusive. Our next lesson comes from Domagoj Jurčić, a mechanical engineering student with Asperger's syndrome. Domagoj encourages us to communicate our problems, especially with the people who are closest to us.
Tell people when you have a problem. Don't just think you can solve it by yourself. Try to communicate why you can't handle something, why something is a problem. People are more understanding than you might think, especially your parents. A lot of kids have problems with it, their parents not understanding them, but it's sort of a problem with preconception, and kids see their own parents as entirely separate beings, as they exist in an entirely completely different dimension. But that's not true. The parents had the same problems we had, not exactly the same, but similar ones, and as such, they can sympathize, they can understand us, and as such, it's our duty as children, as they are children, to communicate to them what we can handle and to ask them for help.
What a beautiful explanation from Domagoj. Now let's hear from Miguel Castelo-Branco, neuroscientist, researcher, and professor at the Faculty of Medicine in Coimbra. In his episode, he explained the importance of serious games for helping individuals on the autism spectrum in their daily tasks like being in a transport or cooking. He also shares his perspective as a father of young adult on the autism spectrum, and he sees that there is a learning curve, but the growth can be truly exponential.
For instance, the concept of a learning curve. So there are things my son can be slow in the beginning, but then he can become very competent, and then how people learn, the neuroscience of learning. So we have two systems in the brain, one that is responsible for habitual behaviors and other that is more related to flexibility and cognitive control. And the habitual system dominates people with autism. They like sameness, they like keeping the same routine, but they can learn to overcome this. So the message my son brings to me is a positive message. Whatever the competence level where you are, you can always be better. There is a huge potential in people with autism, and the society should acknowledge that and should provide the tools that they can accomplish their own potential. We are all different. We all have different levels of skills. Autism is quite interesting in that respect because in some respects they can actually be above the average of the population. So we should not only talk about some deficits.
Of course, if you find value in compilations like this, let us know and we might make more in the future. The next lesson comes from Iva Klarić, coordinator of Plavi Cvijet or Blue Flower Association, which actually celebrated its 5th year a few days ago. So congratulations to Iva and the association for reaching this milestone. Iva is also mother of 10-year-old Shimon, who is on the autism spectrum, and she highlights how important it is to have purpose in life that aligns with who you are.
When we were enrolling in school, I didn't really know how this is going to, be, because he tends to have difficult time accepting new people and assimilating to new experiences, to new school. But it was better than expected. I think it was just the right time for him to transfer to school, and he felt like he needed something more challenging than kindergarten surroundings. And what I always say as a coordinator of our association, I see that the same experience goes with almost all families. Our children thrive on schedules. So when they go to school and they have some kind of responsibility to, get up, and they know what they're going to do in the morning, in the afternoon, they kind of, they're usually calmer throughout the day. And when we have periods of not going to school, specifically if they are longer, even for Christmas, which was a few weeks ago, after a while, we all see that kind of these unwanted behaviors come crawling back out of maybe boredom from when they're at home with their parents all day. Although I have to say that all parents really try to make their children's day, as active as they can. I know myself, people always say that they'll always see me in the car or somewhere because we're always somewhere going, just to give him different type of activities, because I know that he is going to be feeling much better when he is, doing different things and not just being at home. For us, school was kind of a best thing that could happen to him.
Amazing. I'm super happy to hear that. But you also proved that having a purpose in life for Shimon makes a big difference, as well as for any other neurotypical person, let's say that way.
Yeah, that's definitely true. My son, and as I see many other children with autism, they really thrive on having responsibilities, something new to do, something challenging to do. If it's school when they're younger, or if it's something to do when they're older, they really need purpose in life, just like any other, as you said, neurotypical person, to feel better, and automatically those unwanted behaviors kind of calm down, and the life for them becomes easier.
The final lesson comes from Goran Levačić, UI and UX designer, and also a father of Nico, a 14-year-old boy with Asperger's syndrome. Goran joined Pogled, or View Association, to connect with other parents and other people on the autism spectrum who wish to make the world better and more inclusive for those on the autism spectrum, and he shares the importance of community and support.
And obviously, the system is very rigid. You can't really get enough information from people in healthcare. They try to help you, but they say, look, you have to look further. You have to connect with people who experienced that in the past, who have children on the spectrum. That's why we joined the association, and the association is a very good place because you exchange ideas, you exchange your knowledge and experience with other parents, and all these parents are experts. They know answer to everything, almost everything. And this community is really important for all of us, because we just go there to get the advice, to get the information. We go there to have a good time, to celebrate birthdays, play sports and other activities. And I think that's kind of like a blessing. I mean, I've never thought that I'm going to be part of Pogled Association, but I am now, and I'm very, very grateful because I met so amazing people. And I've heard so many stories. And then as a person, I started to develop my empathy for people, not just people on the spectrum, but for other people who challenge difficulties in life. And then when you meet somebody, you don't know what's bothering them. But then if you see there's some kind of like a problem with that person, and you start thinking, oh, there might be some issues. And then you start feeling that empathy. So apart from like being a part of this association and people and parents and kids with autism, you just kind of like change as a person in a good way. And I'm really grateful for that. It's not something that I can learn through not normal, but like a formal way of living. Maybe I can, but it's much more intense in there because you think about these things all the time.
Thank you so much for tuning into this special episode of Metautism podcast. This is all we have for this compilation, and I really hope that lessons from our wonderful guests resonated with you, whether you are parent, teacher, ally, employer, or person on the autism spectrum yourself. Thank you very much, and until the next time, keep spreading awareness, keep spreading kindness, and of course, also thank you to the Erasmus Plus program of European Union for funding this project. All opinions are our own. Bye bye!